From the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains in beautiful Colorado, it is Monday, October 19th, 2020, and this is Truly News. I am your host, Jason Van Sickle. I hope that you had a good weekend and that your week is started off well. As we begin this new day, let's focus on increasing your knowledge and expanding your insights with a review of the day's news. As always, we start with a look at the top headlines from across the country. From the Wall Street Journal, Pelosi sets deadline for White House on coronavirus relief. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called on the White House to show that it was serious about reaching a deal on another coronavirus relief package by moving within 48 hours to reach an agreement on the remaining disputes. After speaking for over an hour with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin on Saturday night, Ms. Pelosi put a 48-hour deadline on negotiations that have stretched for months, but did not say what would happen if the deadline wasn't met. And from National Public Radio, China's economy bounces back as pandemic is brought under control. China posted 4.9% economic growth in its third quarter compared to the same period last year. That keeps it on track to be the only major global economy to record an economic expansion this year in the midst of the pandemic. Economists estimate China's yearly gross domestic product growth will be greater than 2.5% this year, even as the rest of the world economy is expected to shrink by at least 4%. That difference will give Chinese companies in sectors ranging from electronics to steel more global share and greater economic influence. And from USA Today, 5 things you need to know this Monday. Number 1, the Senate will focus on its COVID relief bill and the Supreme Court appointment. The full Senate will reconvene Monday, 2 weeks after its return was delayed when 2 Republican senators tested positive for COVID-19. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the, quote, first order of business, unquote, will be to vote on a targeted COVID-19 relief plan, including new funding for the Paycheck Protection Program, a $5 billion package in total. Also on the Senate's agenda is to push through the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. After the Senate Judiciary Committee approves her nomination, which is expected to pass on a party line vote, the full Senate will consider her. McConnell said the chamber will bring up her nomination on October 23rd, leaving a final vote on her confirmation likely to happen the week of October 26th. Number 2, all eyes on Florida as early voting kicks off. Voters in Florida will have the option to cast their ballot in person on Monday as early voting begins in a state that has voted for the presidential winner in every election since 1996. More than 1.7 million Floridians have already voted early by mail, with Democrats holding a big advantage. 850,000 Democrats have returned mail ballots compared to 480,000 Republicans. Number 3, wildfires in Colorado continue to burn. Smoke is in the forecast for Colorado on Monday as several wildfires continue to burn hundreds of thousands of acres all over the state. One of them, the Cameron Peak Fire, has been burning for over 2 months and is the largest wildfire in the state's history, having burned more than 200,000 acres. Number 4, Kamala Harris back on the campaign trail. Democratic vice presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris is hitting the campaign trail again with an appearance in Florida on Monday after canceling trips to key battleground states because 2 staffers tested positive for COVID-19. And the number 5 thing that you should know this Monday, according to USA Today, a television station security guard will be charged with second-degree murder on Monday in a fatal shooting of a man at a Patriot rally in Denver last weekend. Matthew Doloff was working as a private security guard for a TV station when he was involved in a confrontation where a man shot pepper spray at him. Doloff responded by shooting the man who later died. The encounter occurred as a right-wing demonstration clashed with a Black Lives Matter rally. And those are your top headlines for today. To put us in a better mood after those headlines, we now present our top 5 joke countdown. As usual, bringing us the countdown is my friend Billy Cunningham. Billy is a comedian who goes by the stage name Potbelly. And here's Billy.
Thank you, Jason. From the studios here in Sweetwater, Appalachia, this is Billy Potbelly Cunningham. And joining me is my intern and assistant, Penny. Hey, Penny, we had a lot of fun yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. We have to do that again. For those of you who missed it yesterday, we had a little different format. We had a live studio audience because we had to record some public service announcements. So we were live. And we went ahead and recorded our piece for Truly News with our audience. So it was fun. Yeah, we have to get people back in here. That live, yeah, that's cool. So anyway, let's move on and get started with today's jokes. Oh, I almost forgot. Before we get started, I need to take a moment to promote today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is Felipe's Dutch Oven Restaurant, the Mexican restaurant famous for its nacho buffet, featuring over 100 varieties of cheese from around the world. Fill yourself with fun at Senor Felipe's.
Senor Felipe's is not legally responsible for intestinal or external bodily explosions that may happen in those with lactose intolerance.
Thank you again to Senor Felipe's Dutch Oven Restaurant for being today's sponsor. And now, on to our jokes. Penny is handing me the cards with today's jokes, which come from Reader's Digest. Some of the jokes have been rewritten to make them even funnier. And today's category is weather jokes. Ooh, baby, here we go. Number 5. How do you prevent a summer cold? Answer, catch it in the winter. Okay, but don't bump. Yeah, that's all you get for that one. Jeez. Number 4. What does daylight savings mean in Seattle? Answer, an extra hour of rain. Oh, wow. That joke was very geographically specific. Hopefully we have at least one listener from Seattle that cared. I hate for that joke to be completely wasted. Hey, you're from Seattle, right, Penny? No? Where are you from? Austin, Texas. Same thing. Just kidding. I love Austin and Texas. Number 3. What do snowmen eat for lunch? Answer, icebergers. Okay. How about this one instead? What do snowmen pick out of their nose? Answer, ice boogers. Sorry, little juvenile humor. But we do have kids that listen, and, every once in a while they need a new booger joke to tell their friends. So, there you go, kids. Don't tell your mama. Number 2. What do you call 2 straight days of rain in Seattle? Oh, geez, another Seattle joke. Answer, a weekend. Man, is Reader's Digest headquartered in Seattle? By the way, after that last one, I had Penny look for jokes online, and she found this random guy on YouTube from Seattle telling a joke about Seattle. Go ahead and run that clip, Penny.
Yeah, dude, Sean was like, what's up? And I'm like, yo, Sean, what you doing Friday night? He's like, I don't know, probably maybe going to this little kickback, a party or something, might hang out. I was like, that sounds cool. You know what I'm doing Friday night? He's like, what are you doing Friday night? And I was like, probably just going to Caribou Coffee to watch a Kurt Cobain cover band.
He actually does a little smile at the end and snickers. So proud of himself for that joke. Well, good effort, mister. What's his name? What's it say his name's on there? Mr. White Boy Wonder on YouTube. One of Seattle's finest. White Boy Wonder. Sorry, not making fun of you. We love you, man. You put in a good effort. All right, I get it. Penny's like, dude, let's move on. And I'm like, yeah, dude, let's move on. And our number one weather joke of the day. What goes up when the rain comes down? Answer, an umbrella. Oh, man. That's not funny at all. True, but not funny. Oh, man. Well, we tried. Maybe we'll do better tomorrow. But for now, those are your jokes for today. I'm glad we had a little time together this morning, and I look forward to our time together tomorrow. In the meantime, be kind to others, be good to yourself, and keep on smiling. This is Billy Potbelly Cunningham signing off. Over and out. There you have it, folks. Billy and his top 5 countdown. Thanks, Billy. And now we return to the news. From the world of science and technology, our first article is from CBS News. SpaceX launches 14th batch of Starlink internet satellites in fast-growing fleet. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket fired 60 more Starlink internet relay satellites into orbit on Sunday from the Kennedy Space Center, with another set awaiting launch Wednesday from the nearby Cape Canaveral Air Force Base. With Sunday's flight, SpaceX has now launched 835 Starlink satellites in a rapidly expanding global network that will eventually feature thousands of commercial broadband beacons delivering high-speed internet to any point on Earth. To reach that goal, the company plans to launch at least 120 new Starlink satellites every month. Also in science and technology news, from the Associated Press, U.S. spacecraft sampling asteroid for return. After almost 2 years circling an ancient asteroid hundreds of millions of miles away, a NASA spacecraft this week will attempt to descend to the boulder-packed surface of the asteroid and pick up a handful of samples. The drama unfolds on Tuesday as the U.S. takes its first crack at landing on the asteroid. And our final article from Science and Technology News, Space News reports NASA awards contracts for lunar technologies and ice prospecting payload. NASA has awarded more than $400 million in contracts to both demonstrate technologies needed for future lunar exploration and to send an ice drilling payload to the South Pole of the Moon. NASA announced on Friday that it awarded a task worth $400 million to Intuitive Machines, one of the 14 companies in the Commercial Lunar Payload Services program, to deliver the Polar Resources ice mining equipment. That equipment is scheduled to reach the Moon by the end of 2022. The mining experiment involves a large payload designed to look for water ice at depths of up to 1 meter below the Moon's surface. And those are your science and technology headlines for today. Now, it is time for our words of wisdom. To present this segment is Dr. Albert Feinstein, my philosophy professor from college. And here is Dr. Feinstein. Thank you, Mr. Van Sickle. Hello, and welcome to today's Words of Wisdom. Today's words of wisdom are from the ancient Greek storyteller Aesop, who said, "Try to please everyone, and you will please no one." What Aesop helps to point out is the fact that feeling a need to please people can be a sign that we are around the wrong people.
people that we can never please. We feel a need to please certain people when they make us feel insecure through their judgment and treatment of us. You can never please judgmental people because it is their nature and not yours that is the issue. What we need to do is make sure that we are surrounded by people that make us feel comfortable with ourselves, feeling no need to try to alter ourselves or our behavior to please anyone. That is when you know you have the right people in your life. And those are your words of wisdom for today. Until next time, keep seeking wisdom and believe in your incredible potential. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Feinstein. We appreciate your words of wisdom and your encouragement. Now, we return to our review of the day's news. In entertainment news, we start with new movies, and today's movie is The Trial of the Chicago 7, starring Eddie Redmayne, Alex Sharp, and Sacha Baron Cohen. This movie falls into the categories of drama, history, and thriller. And here is the description from IMDb. In Chicago 1968, the Democratic Party convention was met with protests from activists like the moderate Student for a Democratic Society, led by Tom Hayden, and the militant Yippies, led by Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin, which led to violent confrontations with the local authorities. As a result, 7 of the accused ringleaders are arraigned on charges like conspiracy by the hostile Nixon administration. What follows is an unfair trial presided over by a belligerent judge. The Trial of the Chicago 7 is now showing on Netflix. Moving on, we look at newly released shows. Today's show is To the Lake, starring Kilril Cairo, Mariana Spivak, and Alexander Roback. This series falls into the categories of drama, science fiction, and thriller. And here is the description from IMDb. An unknown virus turns Moscow into a city of the dead. There is no electricity, money has lost all value, and those who are still not infected are desperately fighting for food and fuel. The main character, Sergei, lives outside the city with the woman he loves and her autistic son. It's still safe there, but in spite of that, he rushes to Moscow to save his ex-wife and their son. Setting aside their differences, the ex-couple sets off on a long, dangerous journey north to find an isolated hunting lodge on a deserted island. Season 1 of To the Lake is now showing on Netflix. Finally, in our entertainment news, we take a look at newly published books. And our book for today is This Anything by Jerry Seinfeld, which is presently number 2 on the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list. Here is a summary of the book from Amazon.com. Since his first performance at the legendary New York nightclub Catch a Rising Star when he was only a 21-year-old college student in 1975, Jerry Seinfeld has written his own material and saved everything. Jerry writes, quote, "Whenever I came up with a funny bit, whether it happened on stage, in a conversation, or working it out on my own preferred canvas, the big yellow legal pad, I kept everything in one of those old school accordion folders." Unquote. For this book, Jerry Seinfeld has selected his favorite material, organized decade by decade, in page after hilarious page. Is This Anything is now available in print at your local bookstore, and it is also available in print, Kindle, and audiobook formats on Amazon. And that concludes our entertainment news for the day. As always, we like to end our broadcast with what we call Happy News. And here is your happy news story for the day. From KATC Channel 3 in Lafayette, Louisiana. A story about people helping other people following the recent hurricanes. More than a week after Hurricane Delta, some people in Louisiana who were impacted by the storm are getting the help they need to fix their damaged homes. Catholic Charities of Arcadia is among a number of groups helping people recover from the storm. Since last week, the organization has received more than 700 requests for help. So far, the group has helped about 250 of those people. Volunteers are out 7 days a week, picking up debris, chopping down trees, and providing and assembling tarps. Anything to help their struggling neighbors. On Saturday, volunteers were helping people on Lafayette's north side with their damaged roofs. The happiness and satisfaction of others is what makes the countless hours volunteers put in worth it. Quote, I think people in our community love what we're doing, unquote, said Jody Ware, director of Rebuilding Together Arcadia. She continued, quote, people are nervous. Even people with insurance are having issues. It's hard to get somebody out to look at your house, so we're just trying to help get it done quickly. We have great people in this community, unquote. It is definitely the people that make communities great, and we should all look for ways, even if our community isn't suffering from tragedy, to see what we can do and how we can help to make our communities better. Try to find time to volunteer, but if you can't do that, at least try to find ways to be kind to your neighbors, even if it is simply with a smile and a wave. And that is your news for October 19th, 2020. Have a wonderful day.